Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Football Fan Show podcast. How you doing? I'm Danny and I'm joined by Liam this week to talk about all things football. We are discussing, is Jose Mourinho the true specialist in failure? Remember the old quip he used to make about Arsene Wenger? Well, now I believe it's flipped, reversed onto him. I just don't think he's very good. And we're going to talk about that. We're also going to be discussing the Midweek Champions League results, as well as what Celtic have to do to get back to the top of the Scottish Premiership. We'll also look at the odds on who will be the next Celtic manager. It's going to be Eddie Howe, let's face it. But we'll have a look at the odds as well. There are some interesting and hilarious names, and we're also going to be having a look at the bottom end of the Premier League and who we think are going to get relegated. Remember the shouts at the back of at the start of the season, the back end of the season. You know what? It feels like a year ago since that happened. Genuinely, it feels like a million years ago. We're going to be talking about that, and we'll also chat a little bit about Thierry Henry. And we got asked a question about Turkish football as well. So we'll be chatting Trabzonspor and a bit of Fenerbahce, because we got asked a question by a Fener fan. As for our first discussion point, it's Tottenham with Arsenal fan Liam Barry. I'm Danny Harrington. This is today's Football Fan Show podcast. This is this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. And Liam, I think in full disclosure, we should disclose that you are indeed an Arsenal fan, and we'll take great pleasure in this next bit as we discuss, is Jose Mourinho the true specialist in failure? Well, considering he once called your manager the specialist in failure, Arsene Wenger, I think the modern specialist in failure, today's specialist in failure, Jose Mourinho. I bring you Jose. Although they did beat Wolfsberger 4-0 midweek, as Liam just said off air. He said well, what did you say? It was a reserve team with Gareth Bale and Dele Alli.
Which is just mad, isn't it? Well, I don't know. That's what I think. One of his big things that messes him up wherever he goes is that he has to make an example out of somebody. He did it with Casillas. Pogba became like his person. Oh no, Luke Shaw, wasn't it? Yeah, Luke Shaw was the one he was digging out when he was at United. And he's turned up and he's decided, well, Dele Alli's my man. I'm gonna just put him out in the cold. But then they refuse to let him move
to PSG.
Because and the fact is as well, like he's been doing well in the Europa League and that, but he's not getting anywhere near the Premier League side, and it's not because of his ability. It's because Mourinho doesn't like him, and I don't know if you watched the Nothing or Nothing documentary.
Yeah. Nothing or Nothing. Yes, where he said he was a bad trainer and that he was lazy on the training ground, and that was meant to motivate him.
Yeah, well, it didn't work, did it? Clearly. But the fact is, Dele Alli's not going to be he's not the first player to be a lazy trainer. Now, there's a lot of fair enough. If you don't train hard, Mourinho don't want you to play in that. But and if he's got any plans to be there beyond this season, then you'd think that he would be saying to Daniel Levy, get him out on loan. Get him out on loan somewhere where he can play, get his value up, and then you can sell him on. Because if he sits here, he's going to rot in the reserves, maybe play in the Europa, but he's never going to play for me in the league, and his value is just going to go down and down and down. But yeah, I mean that aside, anyways. But Jose's, I think, just his approach is now. It's effectively kind of an old-fashioned approach now, I suppose. The game has come on so much, and players have changed. The relationships of players have changed, and that doesn't work as much anymore. And the fashion of the way that the game is played is different. It's all about the high press. It's parking the bus is like that defensive approach in in England is not appreciated
Yeah.
anymore. If you play like that, then you get put into an Allardyce kind of bucket. Really, you get pigeonholed like that, and people don't like that anymore. Those days when that was accepted in English football, as in top flight English football, as being like the way to play, absolutely long gone. And fans might put up with it for a little bit. But then they quickly get fed up. You look at Stoke, but a club like Spurs, who have their, similar to like West Ham, have their kind of like the way Spurs play football. And to be fair to them, that has been ever since I can remember, they've always played decent football. They might not have been challenging for anything, but they went out to play football. They didn't go out to kick the crap out of people and long ball it. I'm not saying that's what Mourinho's doing now, but they've always been a footballing side, and to try and turn them into a pragmatic, ultra defensive team, so I think the fans are not going to like it. It's not working. I mean, I suppose it was up until Christmas when a lot of Spurs fans declared they were going to win the league, which every time they do this all the time. Every time they're having a nice little run and they maybe spend a day at the top of the table, they go, "We're going to win the league," and then ultimately they curse themselves. But I don't know. I think it feels like we're in year 3 Mourinho, and we're a year in.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it used to take 3 years to get to this point, but now he just seems to be accelerating that.
Yeah, it's immediate. He's accelerated his process of being shit.
Maybe he's just gone, look, I know how much it's going to cost to sack me. Do it. Go on. Please do it.
Please, just give me a wee bit more to the retirement fund, please. Thank you very much.
I think he's at a point now where the top clubs in the world, your Real Madrid, your Bayerns, they don't want to touch him.
Because he's not good enough.
No, he had his time at Real, and he's not really been the same since. I think Inter would probably have him back.
Oh yeah.
He really was loved there, and actually his style of football, that probably suits Italy more now, anyways.
Yeah.
But I think he needs to leave the Premiership. It's not good for him. No. It's like, as soon as there's kind of stages, isn't there, of Mourinho, and you can tell by the stages of Mourinho, not just by the things he says and the way he acts with the media, but very much by his haircuts. When it's all like sort of neatly trimmed and tidy and stuff, that's fresh Jose. He's in, things are going well. It's probably early days, probably in the first few months and that. He's all sort of trimmed and that. But then it gets to a point where, things aren't going quite as well. And then his hair gets longer and it gets a little bit more wild and crazy. And that's when results tend to turn. But then, as soon as he shaves it down, that's it. That's head case Mourinho. That's kamikaze. It's coming your end of days. He's not going to be around for much longer.
No,
go back. Look at his time at United and his other time at Chelsea. That's the arc, the hair arc.
Yeah.
Follow it.
So what can we expect Jose Mourinho to be West Brom manager in about 5 years?
Well, yeah, like I said, it all depends on his hair, mate. If it's nice and neatly trimmed, he'll have a nice little time there for a bit, but then the wheels will come off. He'll stop cutting his hair, and then he'll shave it all off in his kitchen, and ultimately slag everyone off and get sacked.
Absolutely. Thank you to Game Funyo for the follow on Twitch. Thank you very much. He's asked a question, but it's not in English, so I can't really answer it. I've tried. It's something to do with Fenerbahce.
Why don't we talk about Fenerbahce?
Probably because I don't know anything about Turkish football other than the conspiracy theory that who's a team in orange? Oh, Istanbul Başakşehir are owned by the government.
Yes.
It's rigged. It's so rigged. It's an awesome rig. Great rig. I asked them to rig my election. Yes. Istanbul Başakşehir.
Isn't Fener isn't Fenerbahce Erdogan's team?
Yes, but Istanbul Başakşehir play in Erdogan's colours of orange. That's his party's colours. So, and obviously they weren't a team until, very recently. So
no, they've had an incredible lineup over the last few years. I remember looking at their team sheet and they had Emre was there.
Yeah,
like 84-year-old Emre was there, accompanied by 64-year-old Robinho. There's Emre, Robinho, Clichy. I think it was Girl Clichy's there. What's his face?
Here we go. I've got the translation. Will Fenerbahce beat Trabzonspor? I could not answer that. Probably. I don't know enough about Turkish football.
I don't know a lot about Turkish football, but I think Trabzonspor won the league last year, didn't they?
I thought that was Başakşehir.
Oh, did they win some? They did something last year, something good. Won a game, maybe a cup. But
Trabzonspor are currently 4th, and then Fenerbahce are currently 3rd.
They're 3rd. Ah, interesting. Let's get behind Trabzonspor.
Yeah.
We back them.
Yeah. Well, no. We don't back either of them until we find out which one Game Funyo supports. Which one do you support, and we'll back it because we're that cheap.
Whoever you support,
we're that cheap.
I'm assuming he supports Trabzonspor, but I'd say this. We want to back him if he's going to take the time. To
Are you a Fenerbahce fan or a Trabzonspor fan? Because we back you on that one. Although he does say Başakşehir is to be fair, he rightly points out they're just above the relegation zone. Başakşehir now, and they are terrible. He's a Fenerbahce fan. Fenerbahce to win 50-0 tomorrow night. Tomorrow, 50-0. 50.
Definitely. We'll back Fener then.
Come on, Fenerbahce. Come on, Fenerbahce. Come on. You can do it, Fener. Come on. That's my prediction. 50-0. No, maybe 2-1. Maybe 2-1 to Fener. Let's have a look at where is it? Where is it? Are they playing at home? Oh no, they're playing away. Ooh, 4 p.m. tomorrow, an away game. Trabzonspor, Fenerbahce. They're 3rd and 4th. Oh, he thinks they can't actually win. They can't win, but I reckon we'll wait and see.
Is Özil fit?
Oh shit, yeah, he's there now, isn't he? Yes, I forgot about Özil.
I know he's played 4 games, no goals so far.
Typical Mesut Özil then. Wait, this is a big game then. He'll finally step up. Isn't that what?
That's the thing. As an Arsenal fan, I've got to the point where I was like, look, just it's best he goes. There's no doubt in his talent, and a lot of people. I don't think he was particularly great before he left. Before he was excluded from kind of like the squads and stuff this year. A lot of people, and I'd said that on Twitter, and someone came at me going, "Well, you don't know anything because he was in all of Arteta's squads, and he was playing all the time in that before the lockdown, before the break and everything, and then he was just out, and he set up the winning goal in the last game before lockdown. All right, okay, he did, but you can't deny that leading up to that, he was playing, but he wasn't the Mesut Özil that we've got used to.
Özil's on fire. Their defense is terrified. It's just mild. So what basically what my roundabout, what I'm sort of getting to is I'd like him to kind of succeed there, and I don't like it when you get a player who is clearly a quality player and then suddenly it just stops and they can't do it anymore. So I found it quite sad when Torres moved to Chelsea and just couldn't do it. He wasn't the Fernando Torres that we'd all kind of been watching and been like, this guy is absolutely unreal. And then he moved from Liverpool to Chelsea and then just, I don't know. It's like he left his boots in Liverpool and they're my lucky boots. I can't play anymore. I found that quite. Yes, was the 50.
I find it quite sad, Dan. So
I find it hilarious when that happens because I'm an evil bastard.
if Mesut can get his get back into the groove in Turkey and stuff, then that would be great. I'd love to see that, and hopefully
Come
he can
on,
do
Fenner.
that for Fenner against
Trabzonspor.
Trabzonspor.
There you go. Thank you, Game Funyo. Your battery's about to die, apparently. So go charge that phone. Go charge that phone.
Thanks, Game Funyo.
He does say that our best player is Dimitris Pelkas and Luis Gustavo now. Mesut Ozil isn't ready yet.
Right.
There we go. More fire on the more flame on the fire, or whatever.
Yeah, he's not played for a long time, is he? So yeah, good luck tomorrow, Fenner.
Yeah, go on, Fenner. We're cheering you. Come on, Fenner. By the way, if you would like us to cheer on your team, all you've got to do is give us a follow.
We are cheap like that.
We are incredibly cheap. Do you support Istanbul Başakşehir or Galatasaray? No one. Actually, let's be fair. No one supports Istanbul Başakşehir. They got a freaking empty stadium most of the time. Fake club.
That's not due to COVID.
Nope. Here's the thing: they were always going to win they were always going to win the league with no fans in the stadium because, as the Wheelstone Raider said it best, you got no fans. So there you go. Bit of an excursion on Turkish football. Well, I
enjoyed it.
Turkish football's. Is it fair to say that Turkey's a little bit of a retirement home for older players? Maybe. Would you say? Is that fair to say?
I think. I suppose it can be viewed like that because they can't necessarily pay the exorbitant transfer fees, but they can pay the wages.
Yes,
and it does seem to be a place to where if you're trying to shift a player who maybe is on big money, then that's a place that you can kind of send them to as long as they're not expected as long as you're not expecting a transfer fee for it. But I think one of the attractions for players as well is that the fans there are super passionate.
They're nuts.
So moving from a league
crazy.
Moving from the Premier League to Turkey as well. Especially if you're kind of one of the coastal teams and stuff, you've got some lovely weather there, and also you've got that similar sorts of levels of passion from the fans and stuff as well. So and the stadiums are full and you're still able to you still get that kind of rush and that you would get in the Premiership, I think. But a lot you don't see a lot of players moving there kind of in their prime unless they've kind of been tarnished, like Daniel Sturridge, for instance, formerly of Trabzonspor.
I forgot about Daniel Sturridge. Jesus, where's?
Yeah, so he was there. He was. I think it was last season. He was there.
It was. I do remember him being at a Turkish team, and I just where is he?
He was doing all right, but he got banned, didn't he? Because he'd been he breached betting rules.
Ah, right, okay. Well, if you thought the Turkish fans were crazy, you know what I love about, historically about Turkish football? It brings out the crazy in the managers. Graham Souness sticking a flag.
I knew you were going to say that.
Graham Souness sticking
kind of
a flag
as well, isn't it?
That's iconic, Graham Souness. Imagine if he did that at somewhere like Blackburn Rovers or something like that. But no, he did it in Turkey. Wonderful. Brings out the crazy in all of us, Turkey. Wonderful country. Wonderful football. Back to Mourinho.
Yeah, back to Mourinho.
Back to Mourinho. Back to Mourinho. So Tottenham, so they've lost 2-1 to West Ham last time out in the Premier League, lost 3-0 to City, lost 5-4 in the FA Cup to Everton, and then they won 2-0 against West Brom, which I suppose is okay. It's nothing really to sing home to the masses. Losing 1-0 to Chelsea, losing 1-0 to Brighton, losing 3-1 to Liverpool, and then beating Sheffield United 3-1 away. Once again, nothing to sing home about. And then drawing 1-1 at home to Fulham.
Yeah, I mean, that run of fixtures is absolutely telling me that they will nick a 1-0 win in the North London derby in a couple of weeks' time.
Is that how pessimistic you are?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's I can't. We don't beat any team that Mourinho's managing. It just doesn't seem to happen. doesn't matter. Yeah, well, I don't know. I just think, yeah, we probably won't. That's the way I'm approaching most Arsenal games this season. But
fair enough.
yeah, Mourinho's there's isn't there a lot of whispers coming out that he's lost the dressing room and that, and that apparently he started trying to hang around with them a lot more with the players, and they don't like that either.
No one's gonna freaking like that. Come on, who wants this stale, grumpy old sod hanging around you?
Yeah, and what I don't understand as well is that it doesn't seem like he's used Bale that much.
No, he this must be the weirdest move of Gareth Bale's career, because he's gone from Real Madrid, where he played hardly ever, and then he's gone from Real Madrid to Tottenham, where he's also played hardly ever. So, if you're Gareth Bale, are you thinking, well, what am I doing next? Because apparently Tottenham aren't going to make it permanent. They don't want it. They don't want him.
It's too expensive, and he's not really. If he'd hit the ground running, then they would be biting Real Madrid's hand off, wouldn't they? But he's not been playing. Maybe he's not a great trainer as well. I don't know, but
I don't think he is. But I think his ability on the pitch is
absolutely, yeah. But Mourinho don't care about that, because Dele Alli is undoubtedly a good player, but he's not getting a sniff. I wonder if I know obviously he hadn't been playing. He was fit. Bale was fit, and he was in good nick and everything, but hadn't been playing matches for quite some time really. But I wonder if Bale, you can see the more minutes he's getting, he's starting to do things. He's starting to affect games, but giving him a game against some Tim Pot team from Austria, it's going to get his fitness levels up and everything, but he needs to be playing in the league. And if they're on a bad run anyway, they might as well just put him in.
Yeah, it's just
put him in, give him the minutes in the league and get him up. You're not playing well anyways.
You talk about playing against the Austrian team. It's like getting a participation trophy when you haven't won.
Yeah.
It's just a participation trophy.
Yeah, I don't understand what he's doing there, what he's doing with Bale, with Ali, those sorts of players. Why if you've got them there and you're going through a period where things aren't working for you, try them out, get them in there.
Try something different, man.
And I think he makes decisions or he says things to them and then he's too proud to go back on it.
Yeah, he seems. Yeah, that's a good shout. He seems too proud. I'm going to say this as our final point on Jose Mourinho, the favourite manager to be sacked next with the bookmakers. Jose Mourinho is the favourite. Then it's no manager to leave. Then it's Steve Bruce. So Jose Mourinho is ahead of Steve Bruce. We'll get to Newcastle in a bit, because I do want to talk about Steve Bruce, because Mike Ashley is allegedly an absolute beep. Sorry, I don't have the audio effect to be able to play the...
I think you did a good job of it, Dan.
I do have it somewhere, but I can't be asked to play it. Newcastle 0, Wolves 0, by the way, at the present moment. Right, we have to go to my favourite website. No, not that one. No, not that one. No, that's not for Twitch. That's for a little bit later on. Let's go to the sack race instead. Although that kind of sounds like a website that someone would visit.
Yeah.
Because the Celtic manager has departed. And so I wrote this question at the start of the week before he left. But now I feel it's even more relevant following Neil Lennon's departure. What have Celtic got to do to return to the top of Scottish football? And then I had to change it following Neil Lennon's departure. Well, my answer is obvious, because I've said it for the last few weeks. Appoint Eddie Howe as the Celtic manager.
I did hear about that, and I think what's he at? 5-2 with odds checker. I'm not on odds checker at the moment. No, I'm still not with odds checker. Sorry, Paddy Power. He's at 5-2.
Yeah, 5-2 with Paddy Power, 9-2 with Bet Victory. He's actually the second favourite behind John Kennedy, who's the current caretaker I assume
Yeah,
their betting is their logic is they'll appoint him until the end of the season because it can't really get any worse than finishing second to Rangers. Well, they could finish third to Hibernian, but no,
I
they have
really
enough.
I'm enjoying the fact that Rangers are kind of romping away with it for two reasons. One, um, Rangers have always been my Scottish team, even though raised Catholic and that. My old man bought me Rangers kit when I was a kid, and he was like, "It's our Scottish team." I was like, "Okay, fine." So
Okay,
I've
that's a
always
strange one. I can give you a million reasons why you would not be welcomed at Ibrox, but neither
I
would
don't
I, to
even
be fair.
care.
But yeah,
But
who cares?
yeah,
Who gives
so
a shit?
but I think as I kind of talked about it a little bit. I think the last time I was on, I hate Neil Lennon and Scott Brown. So the
Yeah,
fact Neil
pub
Lennon's been
landlord.
sacked, well, yeah, and you think as well, like they were going for what 10 in a row, which similarly in Scotland,
Yeah,
it's pretty much it's like Bayern Munich and that, isn't it? They've got so much more money than everybody else that yeah, for Celtic to achieve the 10 in the row, like you can't have anyone in charge. Like didn't Ronnie Delia he won the league, didn't he, when he was when he was Celtic manager, and he was awful.
yeah,
Um,
um,
Dahlia, that's it. He was
yeah.
awful. I think he's out in the States now. Um,
Here
but
he
yeah,
is.
he still won the league. Tony Mowbray won the league there as well, I think. So, and Neil Lennon did it before. So he's easily got the better squad in the league, and to be that far behind just shows that actually he's not a good manager. Um, and that's and
Yeah,
clearly he's undone a lot of the good work that Brendan Rodgers did whilst he was there. So yeah, I
I
think
I think this is a perfect job for Eddie Howe to rebuild his career because it's a
yeah,
great club,
definitely.
European, Europa League next season. Eddie Howe has got no managerial experience in European competitions, so this will put him back in the picture for maybe a position like Southampton or
Yeah,
some kind of
or like a
range
Bournemouth or someone like that.
a mid range Premier League team. Being
Yeah, no,
pedantic with
I
Bournemouth,
think you're
like
right.
an
I think
Aston Villa, Leeds United, that kind of club. Maybe
I
Newcastle in
think
the future if they get taken over.
yeah, I think he'd have to. I think that's the thing. Is it like you say, like Brendan Rodgers went. He went there after to kind of lick his wounds and stuff after being sacked by Liverpool, and
Hmm.
did some great things with him. Had a great time there, and like you say, rebuilt his reputation. So I think yeah, Freddie, and also as well, like Freddie Howe to have some silverware as a manager on his CV is always going to look good. Um,
I mean, he did win the championship with Bournemouth, so I mean that's a good
yeah,
league to win.
yeah,
If you're going to
yeah.
win
No,
a league,
true,
the
true.
championship's a good one. I
But
mean,
more
Rafa didn't say
silverware
no.
is always good, though, isn't it?
Yes, maybe. Well, maybe the gift of the Scottish Premiership, and I mean, maybe he should go manage Sevilla, and then he can get a European trophy on his hands because they always win the Europa League.
Yeah. I mean, there's some interesting candidates on this list
Yes,
on Odds Checker.
we're going to go through
So
them now. So I've got a
yeah,
few. So I've got Steve Clark at 5-2 with Bet Victor, 5-1 with Paddy Power.
mm,
He's the third favourite according to this list. Now, the fourth person on this list would be my second choice, and purely because it's Steven Gerrard in the opposite dugout. Frank
yeah, I
Lampard.
like that. I do like that, and it would be like just like Sven with England, Lampard or Gerrard, and it would be the same in
Mm,
the Scottish Premiership. And I think again rebuilding your reputation, being at a big club. I think Lampard would only go to big clubs with history.
yeah,
So like, and to be fair, Derby may not be a Premiership club at the moment, but they've got a lot of history in the top tier of English football, and as a first job was a great
yeah.
opportunity for him, and he did all right there. But yeah, I don't I think that would be an all right move for him, but
Mm,
Because I can't see him managing a different Premiership side.
I could see him managing West Ham in the future.
But
Purely
they hate
because he's a West Ham. Yeah, but he was West Ham before he was Chelsea.
Yeah, and they hate him because he moved.
But the board don't. The board will appoint him, and he'll try. Yeah, the board don't care, and I can see it. He'll become.
They prove time and time again. Then
also his dad Frank Lampard Senior is so ingrained at West Ham United that he'll get him a job. That he'll find a way of getting him a job there, or maybe he'll call his uncle Harry to give him a job, and then sell him Nico Cranchar as well.
I don't with Lampard though. I can't see him. I don't know. It doesn't feel like that he's a career manager. Like that's it. He'll always be a manager. I don't know. I just feel like he's done it. He's been at Chelsea. He's done it, and he kind of unless like unless he was somehow managed to get the England job, he probably feel like he probably wouldn't bother. But then I don't know him. So
I don't know. I see him managing again in the Premier League, trying to give it another go. But yeah.
I think it's because I can't imagine him. He's so synonymous with Chelsea that I can't see him anywhere else. I thought it was weird when he was at Derby, so maybe that's just a hang up that I've got.
Well, I never saw him as a manager, so I don't know. I just never saw him in that.
No, I didn't either.
I just saw him as he'll get a nice cushy job with Sky Sports and he'll be a pundit. And the people that I thought would be pundits are now becoming managers for some reason, and for a lot of them, it's not working out as well as it should have done. And
for some people, I wouldn't have even expected them to be pundits. And by some people, I mean Wayne Rooney.
Yeah.
Oh, blows my mind. Wayne Rooney is a manager. Never had that one for a second.
My mind is filled with just inappropriate Wayne Rooney jokes that I can't even do, otherwise I'd get sued. Who's that over there? Your grandma? Okay. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. Yeah, weirdly I always saw my favourite pundit being a manager, and that was Carragher. But I know he doesn't want to do it. He just wants to be a pundit. So I love Jamie Carragher. He's my favourite pundit. But I always saw him as a manager. I think
fair play to him though, because I mean, like Neville gave it a go, and then went never again.
Well, this was shit, wasn't it? Yeah. I just love it whenever they talk about Valencia on Sky, whenever they bring it up on Sky Sports News, because Carragher just goes, he's just rubbing his hands together, going, "Yes, I'm just about to rip Gary Neville apart." Martin O'Neill, I thought his career was finished. Is 8-1, 5-1.
I think that's just a lazy link, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think that's a lazy. Yeah, he's been Celtic manager before. I think football's. I don't know. I like Martin O'Neill, but I think football's passed him by a bit ever since, because he took that time out to be Ireland manager with Roy Keane as his assistant manager, and then they ended up at Forest together. Yeah, and that didn't last. And I just don't see Martin O'Neill returning to management at any point in the near future. He'll you know what? He'll turn up this summer, European Championships, doing some punditry work for ITV.
Yeah,
and that'll be it.
And you know what? That's a nice little gig for him.
Exactly. You know, that's his summer. You know,
there are some interesting names in this list. I mean, obviously Sean Dyche is in there.
Yes, this is a big
15 to 2. But the likes of like Roberto Martinez, Rafa Benitez is in there.
Rafa Benitez is 14-1 with Bet Victor, 10-1 with Paddy Power. Even though his previous team is, I'm not even going to dare pronounce it, Dalian Yifang, or from the Chinese Super League. Roberto Martinez is 6-1 with Bet Victor, 9-1 with. Why the heck is Roberto Martinez going to turn around to the Belgian FA and say, "Yeah, I don't want to manage what is technically
some of the best players in the world,
what is technically considered by FIFA the best team in the world. I don't want to manage them. I fancy being second fiddle to Steven Gerrard."
I mean, there's a better one down here.
I've got Damien Duff at 14-1.
Damien Duff. Oh, you've gone further down. I was caught by Sean Maloney.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I've got Roy Keane at 20-1. No, that's weird.
I don't think he would go back. But do you know what though? Slaven Bilic isn't a bad shout.
He's currently managing in China, isn't he?
Oh, is he? He's got himself a job out there, is he?
Yep. Why is John Terry being linked with every job? He's 25-1 according to Bet Victor for the Celtic job. No one at Celtic would want John Terry as their manager. Trust me.
No, I am miking that Bobo Balde's in there though.
Who else is in there? The
Kevin
true.
Torre.
We've been talking about. Oh shit! Yeah, I just saw
Malky
Mackay 33-1.
Do you think they'd be like Malky? Right, you can have the job, but you're not having a phone. We know what you're like. No texting.
Allegedly.
Just run the tea.
Allegedly.
We know what you're allegedly like.
Weirdly, Thierry Henry is on there. What was he? 25-1. We'll talk about him a little bit later because he resigned midweek from his nice job in Montreal. I'm just looking at the weirder ones now. Andre Villas-Boas is 33-1. Not gonna. Actually, you know what? That would be the perfect job for him. Someone that needs to rebuild his career. Although, quite frankly, Andre Villas-Boas would rather be racing at the Paris-Dakar Rally.
Well, but he was doing an all right job at Marseille, but
before Marseille did a Marseille and imploded.
Well, yeah, they signed the kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back was they signed Olivier Nichem, and he just lost it. He's like, I didn't want this guy.
Do you know where they signed him from though?
No.
He's on loan from Celtic.
Yes, he is, isn't he? Yeah. And he lost his shit. Can you just imagine though? Like he takes over at Celtic now. He takes over now, and then pre-season starts. He turns up and he's like, "What are you doing here?"
I didn't sign this guy.
First he's like, am I being pranked? Is Rio Ferdinand doing his famous prank show again? Just like throws his clipboard down his whistle or whatever manager equipment he's got and just storms out with it. I'm done. But there was one actually. I just wanted to.
Yeah, go on. If you see one that's funny
this
or
is a typo.
serious. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
I think this is a typo on the website because. They've got Collins John, Dutch forward that used to play for Fulham, Collins John, when I really think they mean John Collins. Although, why not Collins John?
Yeah, I've got John Collins on mine, so it is John. You're right, it's John Collins. It's not Collins John. 50-1 with Paddy Powell.
I mean, I want to put money on Collins John. Scott Brown's in there, but he's already come out and gone, no chance, not me.
I've got Paolo Di Canio at 33-1 or 66-1 with Paddy Power. He's an ex-Celtic player. It's not a million. Well, it's not going to happen because no one's touched Paolo Di Canio with a barge pole since he left Sunderland.
It's because he's a maniac.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say allegedly.
No, you don't have to. Everybody knows he's nuts.
Yeah, he is a maniac. So, yeah, probably not worth having him there.
He applied
for some reason.
I was going to just say on Paolo, he applied for the Rotherham United job, and they just went, no. Rotherham United just went, no.
But if you think about it, really, the only place that it's really worked for him was Swindon.
And he had to spend a shitload of money and bankrupt the club in the process of getting them trying to get back-to-back promotions. You mentioned Sol Campbell. What are the odds?
The odds are 80 with Sky Bet.
Sol Campbell is not a good manager. He's just not.
Was in his first role, didn't he? Was it was it Macclesfield or something like that?
Yes, but then he left
He
because
kept him up, didn't he?
yeah, and then it was weird because he didn't get paid or something, and he was as far as I'm going to say allegedly, because I'm just going to say as far as I can recall, he was part of allegedly the group that tried to wind up the club and eventually saw it hit the wall.
Right.
So lovely guy. Also, he's a Tory, so I hate him. So
I just think,
he seems. My issue with Sol Campbell is he seems to blame other factors around him rather than him just looking at himself in the mirror, which is a very conservative thing to do. Blame everybody else apart from yourself. What a wanker.
The thing is, though, there's a lot at play there, and the things that he talks about with regards to kind of black managers getting opportunities and things at higher levels and stuff, he's not wrong.
No, I agree. But there are better black managers than Sol Campbell. Paul Ince is a good manager. Why has he not had more jobs? Since he did a great job at MK Dons. He took the Blackburn job far too early on, but he wanted to give it a go. But after that, no one would touch him, and I don't understand why. Because he was very good, I thought, and I think he doesn't want to be in football management anymore. But back then, I was surprised he didn't bounce. So yeah, there is a point to be said.
You can get tarnished really quickly as a football manager, and that's regardless of kind of where you're from, and that if it doesn't work, if it doesn't work out, and you don't get another job sort of straight away, then
what I want to know is how Paul Ince doesn't get another management job, but Alan Pardew keeps turning up in random bloody places.
Well, yeah, I did hear about a little thing about Alan Pardew. He's at is it CSKA Sofia or something, isn't he? In
CSKA
Bulgaria.
Sofia, yeah.
And he's come out and said he's having a lovely old time, and he said that he's kind of used to being director. Someone to come in and be try and dig a team out of a hole and stop them getting relegated. But here he's there and he's actually fighting to win something, which is a different feeling for him. So
normally he's the one digging the holes and doing stupid dances at Wembley.
Yeah, I mean, but with Sol Campbell, I think I don't know why he's on the list, because I don't think they'd even look at him. If I'm perfectly honest,
they wouldn't. Jose Mourinho. I've got Jose Mourinho at 66-1. Get sacked by Tottenham, turn up at Celtic. That'd be a great little job for Jose.
They've got some outside bets here as well. Big Sam's in there at 100-1. Let's be honest.
Yes, I just saw that one.
He's going to be leaving there soon. Tony Mowbray, 100-1 on Sky Bet, 66 with them.
I've got one in which hell would have to freeze over for it to happen. At 250-1 with Paddy Power, ex-Rangers manager and Rangers legend Ali McCoist. Hell would literally have to freeze over for that to happen.
Followed by Lorenzo Amoruso. He also played at 500. He also played for Rangers.
Yes.
Oh, Barry Ferguson.
Yep.
Hang on, who's Arlene Foster?
Oh God, that's the leader of the DUP. That's the leader of the DUP, Arlene Foster.
Oh yeah, Ian Paisley Jr. and Jerry Adams also at 500-1. Klopp's only at 250-1. Ronnie Dahlia, he's back in there, 251. But one Robbie Savage is in there for some reason as well. But what I did like was Big John Hartson. He's in there. He'd have no interest in that.
No,
I've said that as if I know him.
He's not a manager. He's a pundit.
We're not friends.
No. But John, if you want to if you want to send me like the emails there, the footballfanshow@gmail.com, send your details. I'll pass them on to Liam. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Cheers.
That's fine, yeah.
Sorry, back to the show.
Hey, John Hartson follows me on Twitter, mate, and has done for a number of years.
Fair enough.
I have no idea why.
Yeah, we've all got Twitter accounts that follow us. That you're like, why the heck are you following me? There's no point.
This is actually John Hartson though, which is I think is when I first kind of was on there. I just tweeted like football stuff, and generally about Arsenal, and for some reason at some point he followed me, and I don't know if it's because I tweeted him or something, but yeah, he does follow me, and my favourite John Hartson memory as well is not even to do with he wasn't even there, and I'd played a game when I was 11, so it's 24 years ago. It was at West Ham's training ground. We'd lost, we were cheated, we'd lost, and we were all gutted. And as we came out, we saw all the West Ham players like pigeonholes, in the training complex, and his was full of autographed pictures for something. Obviously, he'd spent a lot of time doing, so we nicked them all. That's my John Hartson story. But I don't know if you want to talk about this more. But the other one for Celtic manager, which is probably my favourite one, that actually when I look at this, I want this to happen more than any of them, and that's Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink. 100 to 1 with Paddy
Jan Vennegoor of... Oh no! He was a... What? No, he was good for Celtic as a player, but he was...
It's Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink, Dan.
Yeah, he sounds like a bloody Game of Thrones character. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, but he's beyond the wall, though, isn't he? So that's perfect.
Jesus. I like that one. Good shout at the end. Celtic beat Aberdeen today by a goal to nil. And guess who they have coming up on the 21st of March? Oh, wow. It's Rangers. Better get a new manager in before then. Yeah. They're back. They'll win it. They'll come on Hibernian, take second place. They're only you're only 12 points behind. My Scottish team is Hibernian. Come on Hibernian. Come on Hibs.
Link to us. They had quite a link with Arsenal back in the day, didn't they?
Yeah.
Hibs.
Also, Neil Lennon's old club. He was manager there before he was Celtic.
And Scott Brown. Scott Brown used to play for him, didn't
he? Yeah.
It's a well-trodden path, Hibs to Celtic.
Both Irish Catholic teams. Just one's Edinburgh, one's Glasgow. Come on, Edinburgh. Newcastle United 0, Wolves 0. Let's move on, and we've got plenty more to chat about, and we've only got an hour left. Champions League. Let's rush through these. The Champions League midweek results are in, and unfortunately, I did not get what I wanted, which was a thrashing for Real Madrid by Atalanta. Even though I was planning to rework the sash. Are you aware of the Eurodance track Adelante by Sash? You know the people that made Encore and Foire?
Yeah, I'm not.
I was going to rework it to Atalanta if they beat Real Madrid by a significant margin and got Zidane the sack.
I mean, I know you're not a fan of Zidane, but I think they can, Atalanta can feel hard done by. Real just scraped through by the skin of their teeth against 10 men, a weakened Atalanta side as well, I think, because they didn't have Divan Zapata, did they?
No.
So, and a couple of others. But, I mean, I think even with 11 men, if Atalanta can have 11 men for the whole game in the return leg, I don't see why they couldn't turn that around.
Come on, Atalanta.
I think they can do it. They're fairly free scoring. They play good football. I think the way Real Madrid are at the moment, there's nothing to write home about. They're pretty poor, and seem to be refusing to kind of go through that transition period and ship out the older players and stuff. I think Atalanta could do it. The only thing that could stop them is their own mindset of, oh God, we're playing Real Madrid.
Oh yeah. Well, if Shakhtar can beat Real Madrid, then I'm sure Atalanta will go, this is perhaps one of the worst Real Madrid teams with one of the worst Real Madrid managers.
Or one of the best. Look at his Champions League trophy haul. That's not for now, Dan. Let's not debate that now.
Hashtag Zidane is shit. Atletico Madrid 0, Chelsea 1. It's Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel still undefeated, isn't he, as Chelsea manager?
I find it quite interesting because he's done that thing of like Lampard was bring through the younger players and all of that, and he's kind of frozen out a few of the older players. Like Rudiger's not even that old, is he?
No.
But he's kind of frozen them out. Alonso, Giroud was kind of on the fringes, even though whenever he got a chance he would score. And since he's come in, he's kind of gone like, "Come on, boys, in you come," and brought him back into the team. I mean, he even gave Kepa 90 minutes the other week, didn't he?
I know he's very charitable.
Yeah, but what a goal from Giroud! Lovely strike.
Yeah, it's. Whenever I say anything bad mouthing somebody, it seems that they always just do well, really well. So that's why I've been saying to John Sheridan and Swindon that they're crap, because I want them to do well. And whenever I criticise them, they seem to do better.
It's just how
like when I said Giroud was an average player, and he just seems to be scoring quite a few very good goals.
I've always liked Giroud, and I think he's been criminally underrated for a very long time. Just because he's not lightning quick, everyone's been, "Oh no, he's average. He's rubbish." Blah blah blah. And at Arsenal, I think towards the end, he absolutely wasn't appreciated. But you look at his record for France, he's like a couple of goals of being France's all-time top goal scorer, I think. And the types of goals he can score, and the fact that actually as well, he might not be your first choice, but what an option off the bench as well. But even he's in fantastic condition as well, and he can be your main man. I'd like to see him go to Italy, if I'm honest. I think he'd have a lovely old time there for the final few years of his career, and he'd score a hatful of goals. It would keep him in the France team, and we'd see a lot more athletic goals like that, and his scorpion kick.
I just want to interrupt and say Juventus are 1-0 up. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos. It's his full name. They put the full name of Cristiano Ronaldo on there, but it's Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's no good to me, Dan, because Mönchengladbach drew with Leipzig, didn't they? So,
Yeah, they also, thanks for mentioning them, they also lost 2-0 midweek to Manchester City in the Champions League. City can pretty much do it all, can't they? Although Bayern are still my favourites because they won 4-1 against Lazio as well.
Yes.
So yes, I think. Could you imagine Bayern City for the final? That'd be a good game.
Yeah, no, that would be a great game. That'd be great to see. The Sane Derby, I think they'd call it, wouldn't they?
Something like that. Something akin to that.
or the Boateng Derby.
As long as it's not Kevin Prince. No,
Jerome.
Jerome.
He's still at Bayern, isn't he?
I know. We had a joke last week where Chelsea should have signed. I can't remember. Was it? Oh no, sorry. Liverpool should have probably signed Jerome Boateng or something like that when they got all their injuries, and I just added the line. Oh yeah, but the reason they didn't is because when you sign Jerome Boateng, you get Kevin Prince Boateng absolutely free. Buy one, get one free.
He's a fun guy.
Oh God, no. He's at the right club with his stage. He's a journeyman, isn't he, Kevin Prince Boateng?
He is.
He's at the right club. He's at he's at AC Monza with Mario Balotelli.
Oh, that's got to be a party.
Hey,
Kevin Prince Boateng and Berlusconi.
Yeah, Berlusconi. I was going to say, yeah, who owns them? Bunga Bunga parties.
That's why they're there.
Yeah.
They've gone Silvio. We've
Welcome
heard all
to
about.
AC Monza, where it's party time all the time. Thierry Henry. Let's talk about the Arsenal legend. He was linked with the Bournemouth job, didn't get it. Jonathan Woodgate was appointed manager until the end of the season. Not a bad shout because he was doing a very good job there. But Thierry Henry has stepped down as the head coach of CF Monaco, Club Football Monaco, of the Montreal. Sorry,
Montreal.
He was sacked by Monaco. He was sacked by Monaco, but he resigned as manager of Montreal for personal reasons, not just because they're not doing very well. The 43-year-old, who was recently shortlisted, as I say, for the Bournemouth job, said it was with a heavy heart that he was leaving after an extremely difficult period away from his family. To be fair, he is moving back to London. That's what he said.
Yeah, it's to be with his family, isn't it? I mean, for me, I just don't think management's for him.
No, he's not very good.
He's very set on doing it, but from everything I've read and seen and stuff, he's just not. He's not him. He's not got it. Maybe he could be a coach, like for forwards and stuff and teaching things and that. But by the looks of it, he doesn't have the patience or the understanding that, you know, not everybody you coach is going to be able to do everything that you did. When you're a player of the quality that he was, I don't know. Maybe he just needs to like get fat or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, so he doesn't physically feel like I could still do this. I think that's part of it. I think he just like, because there's a clip that I keep hearing where he's shouting at one of his players at Montreal. He's like, "Oh, can you make that pass?" And he's gone, "Yeah." Well, why don't you do it then? And I think he falls into that classic thing of top class footballer who can't be a manager because he's frustrated that all the players can't do what he can do. Glenn Hoddle was the same thing, wasn't he?
I mean, Glenn Hoddle did a fantastic job once again at Swindon, but then again, he was player manager.
He was all right for a bit, but he was a player. Yeah, he was a player manager.
He's player manager. To be fair to him,
out there with him. But yeah, I was pleased that Bournemouth didn't give him the job. Get back to being a pundit.
Well, last week we were talking about the Bristol City job, and my guest last week said that would probably be a more interesting prospect for Henry than the Bournemouth job. But yeah, I agree with you. I just don't. He's not a manager.
No,
he's not a manager.
Not for me. I as an Arsenal fan, and actually not even as an Arsenal fan, as a lover of football. As a player, he was fantastic.
Just don't do it.
Just an amazing striker and that, and he has so much to his game and that, but he just doesn't have it as a manager for me.
No. So there you go. Thierry Henry, retire from management and just take up that cushy job with Sky Sports again. Get back in the Renault adverts. You're all
knee. Just do that. Just do that. It's fine. Stay away from the and if he wants to, I think, because I think as well, like, maybe even being a coach probably isn't good for him. I spent a lot of time with Belgium, didn't he? But
yeah, I could see him. You know, Leonardo, like the technical director of PSG, was a player and tried to be a manager and wasn't great at being a manager, and then he became the technical director at PSG. I could see Thierry Henry being a technical director at a club, maybe even Arsenal. Although that is a role that I would like. I would have said that Dennis Bergkamp would have. I would like to have seen Dennis Bergkamp in. But
yeah, I think it takes a different kind of person to be a technical director. I think you need to be definitely more personable and maybe not have as big an ego. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you need the biggest of egos, and maybe it'd be perfect for it. But I just think that, I don't know, you've got to be dealing with a lot of people from like different clubs and stuff like that, and yeah, I don't know. I think maybe
I can see him giving it a go.
I can see him continue being a pundit, but I can't see him being in any kind of role behind the scenes or as a manager. I just can't. It just doesn't seem right. He doesn't seem like that type of player. I think maybe it's because he was kind of like, I don't associate, and yeah, I think I don't associate kind of skillful players or goal scorers and that to end up doing those kind of administrative jobs or being a manager. When I say or being a manager, I just see, but yeah, doing those behind the scenes things. But then, you know, Mark Overmars is he's looking for a new job, I think, isn't he? He's been at Ajax for some time, and there were some links for him to Arsenal and that as well. You know, and he was always a very good, skillful player and stuff. So, you know, it's not a rule.
I mean, yeah, Overmars
not a universal rule, Dan.
Yeah, I was going to say, Overmars is the current director of football at Ajax. Not for. I just can't see Henry. I could see him doing it if it was manager. If it was at Arsenal. I could see him being technical director, but I don't see him being a manager. He's just not. It's not.
No, I think I guess that's the thing is I think at Arsenal I'd like to see more players in those sorts of positions and stuff. I know obviously we've got Edu and Mertesacker there, but I don't. That Edu and obviously Arteta, but I do feel like maybe we've not necessarily got all the right ones in. Edu feels massively like I don't know, like a used car salesman.
Yeah, why is Edu there? Did somebody from the old Arsenal board go, get Edu? Oh, sorry, I'm doing the push pineapple shake. Oh, fuck's sake!
But he was like in a technical director sort of role for the Brazil national team, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Where obviously, you know, he made friends with Kia Joorabchian, which means we now just get loads of Kia Joorabchian players. But
great, Carlos Tevez on his way then. no. Joking.
Yeah, just wheeling him in. But I don't know. I feel like there's something. At some point, he'll leave, and then he'll either come out before and be the reason why he leaves, or it'll be afterwards, and it'll be like George Graham, like brown envelope jobbies, where he's taking money left, right, and centre for transfers. Just something. There must have been a kickback on that Willian deal, you know. Admit I was optimistic about that signing at the beginning of the season, and the first game you saw against Fulham, you thought, here we go, 2 assists, lovely. See plenty more of this, and then he's just gone and just been awful ever since. So yeah, I definitely think he's getting a lot of backhanders. I would do. And yeah, maybe Henry could come in and freshen it up and use some of his contacts and get us loads of Montreal and Belgian players in. Maybe that's what we could do. But not.
How long was Edu at Arsenal for? Not that long, wasn't he?
Not all that long, to be fair. So only a couple of years in that, but he was kind of.
I was going to say I'm going to make an outrageous comparison to get a cheap laugh, because making Edu your technical director is kind of like Manchester United turning around to Park Ji-sung and going, "Do you want to be technical director?" "Oh yeah, cool."
But I think Park was there longer.
Yeah, he was actually. Yeah,
he was with United a lot longer than Edu was at Arsenal.
I just want Rivaldo. Is he still playing, by the way, Rivaldo? Probably somewhere. He's probably 100 now, playing in China or something. China's third division.
He already looks like a corpse as well, doesn't he?
He did at the 2002 World Cup, the 2002 World Cup, where he got hit in the face with the football, and well, he didn't get hit in the face with the football, but he still went down. Oh. No way, he retired in 2015.
At the age of like 43 or something.
Yeah, something ridiculous. Yeah, he would have been 43. Because I remember he played in Uzbekistan on one edition of Football Manager, and I tried to sign him for like League 2. Because I'm like, yeah, I'll have a World Cup winning Brazilian striker in my squad. Yeah, I don't care if he's cropper. He'll sell shirts. He'll sell shirts. Bit of news to cover before we get to our final talking point tonight. It's Leyton Orient, and they lost 3-1 today. Ross Embleton, the Leyton Orient manager, has left the club today, with the club parting company with him. So let's quickly have a look at some of the names in the running for that one, the Leyton Orient. It has just happened today.
I don't think it's going to be as much fun as the Celtic one.
No, it won't be. It won't be, unfortunately, unless. I
bet Sol Campbell will be in that one as well.
Probably. The next Leyton Orient manager, then. Let's have a look at some of the odds on this one. Come on, load. At the moment, it's so new that they haven't put any odds up. It's so fresh that they haven't got any odds.
Wow.
So, yes.
Well, hang on, I'll tell you what. Let's go back through that Celtic list
and recommend some of the names. Paolo Di Canio.
I'm immediately going for Jan Vennegoor of Hesseling.
Jan Vennegoor of Hesseling. Who else? John Hartson.
Alex Neil.
Alex Neil, yeah. No, it does. So some of the early candidates that are being reported are Keith Curle. Danny Cowley would not take the Leyton Orient job. It's too lower down the leagues for him. Joby McAnuff.
Oh, it's an interesting one.
Sam Ricketts, the former Wales international. Who else? And then looks like the early favourite is Paul Tisdale, who parted company with Bristol Rovers not too long ago before Joey Barton took that job.
Yeah. Some interesting appointments in Bristol. Big names.
Yes. Considering that... who was it that was originally being linked with the Bristol City job? I'm trying to remember. Obviously, we've got Nigel Pearson.
John Terry.
As Bristol.
John Terry was linked with the Bristol City job, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then it was... I'm just trying to remember who it was, because we ran a poll on this. And, it was Michael Appleton who was the favourite. Michael Appleton, the Ipswich, I did that last week, Lincoln City manager. Currently competing for promotion, and Nigel Pearson.
Michael the Arms Appleton?
Yes. With 83% of Bristol City fans voting for Nigel Pearson. Well, that, to be fair, it was like a day before he was appointed, so it was already pretty much certain that he was going to get the job.
I think that's a great appointment for them, really.
Pearson, perfect club, because, perfect manager.
You know, he's proven it getting teams out. I say getting teams out of the Championship. I mean, he took Leicester up. He's a good, solid manager. I'd love to see Bristol City in the Premiership.
It would be.
I really would.
It would. No, I agree with you. It would be great for this part of the world if one of the clubs from Bristol it's never had a Premier League team, so it'd be nice to get a Premier League team in Bristol. But
we haven't had anyone. No one from kind of. There hasn't been a West Country team in the Premiership since Swindon, has there?
Well, if you're stretching, you could throw in Bournemouth because they're Dorset, technically. I'm going to claim it because they're technically Dorset, and Dorset is technically West Country. I'm going to claim it. Well, I'm not going to claim Dorset as the West Country because it is the West Country, but I'm going to claim Bournemouth.
They fall under South Coast.
By that logic, then, so do Cornwall and Devon. And Dorset. I'm counting Dorset. Anywhere west of us is West Country. So Gloucestershire, Dorset, Cornwall, Devon, all of that. I'm claiming all of that as West Country. So I'm claiming Bournemouth as the last West Country team even though they don't see themselves that way. We also asked Bristol Rovers fans if they thought Joey Barton would keep them in League One. 88.6% of them said that they thought Joey Barton would keep them in League One. 11.4% thought no, he would get them relegated. I thought that Barton's sacking by Fleetwood was incredibly harsh. I thought he was doing a pretty good job, considering that they'd made the playoffs last season. Yes, it wasn't going as well this season, but they were mid-table. It's Fleetwood. What,
I think it's quite tough for these teams in kind of League One and League Two and stuff. I noticed it a lot with Swindon. Kind of seem to have a very similar kind of arc with it, where they'll have a season where things go well. They will make the playoffs. Say when they were in League Two, they'd make the playoffs, and then if they didn't go up, the following season would be a real struggle, because I think if you do make the playoffs and you don't make it, I think that does have a big effect on the players, and obviously you lose players because they might get picked up by those teams that have been promoted, and there's always a lot of movement around League One and League Two, isn't there? So I think if you go for the playoffs and you don't make it, your squad takes a hit, regardless of whether that's personnel changes or just getting them back going again. And I know that as a manager, that's your job to do that, but I think it does seem like it's a really tricky thing to do in League One and Two, because there's not a lot in it, really, is there? Unless you get a big side from the Championship come down with a wad of cash, they snap up all the better players and then bugger off back to the Championship again. But for everyone else, it's kind of high to low every season when those things happen. You don't kind of have teams that are kind of perennially in the playoffs, but just don't quite get there. They kind of get through, or then they drop down for a bit, and Fleetwood maybe they kind of forgetting themselves a little bit and kind of what they are as a club at the moment. And yeah, it's right to be ambitious. You always have to be ambitious in football, but yeah, I think I think it was a bit harsh, but and maybe we can do some good things at Bristol Rovers and keep them up, and they'll have a go next year. But I mean, for me, he needs to sort that hair and cap combo out. That's wrong. He's going nowhere in my book with that, mate. There's too
That's going to hold you down.
Yeah, cap. Yeah, he looks like somebody who shouldn't be allowed near a school,
I was going to make a Fleetwood Mac joke, but after that, no.
Fleetwood cap.
Oh God. Go your own way. Fleetwood Mac, 1976. Jose, by the way, we ran a poll. I forgot to mention this. 78% of people thought that Jose Mourinho would be sacked before the end of the season. 22% no. So interesting there. Right, let's get into our final talking point today, and it's about the bottom end of the Premier League and who will be relegated. And oh, by the way, Newcastle United won, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. This might have an effect on our discussion of who might be relegated from the Premier League this season.
Oh.
I'm very happy to say that two of my picks are still there. That being West Brom and Fulham, still in the relegation zone. I think you also picked Fulham and West Brom. As I try and go back all that way, which feels like a million years ago because of various lockdowns. But yeah, you also picked West Brom and Fulham. I can't remember who your third team was.
I can't remember who it was. Let's just say
it's one of the teams down there.
I think I said Sheffield United.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Yeah, I think you might. Yeah. Okay, I think you might have done. I know who my third choice was. It was a toss up between Aston Villa or West Ham, and it turns out it was either going to be one of those two, and I picked West Ham, and they're going for the bloody Champions League, which means you're just trying to have a discussion with yourself now. I'll have to go back to the podcast. I'll have to go back through it. Or did I podcast the early ones? I don't think I podcasted the first couple. Maybe I'll have to go back through them. I'll have to go back through them.
Next season, we'll put them in an envelope.
Yeah, we'll put them in an envelope.
Make our predictions, put them in an envelope, and then we can open them at the end of the year. end of the season.
We'll give a trophy to whoever wins. And it probably will be a £5 WWE belt from eBay.
Excellent.
There you go. Sheffield United, bottom of the league on 11 points. They had a bit of a resurgence recently, and I'm just like, well, the way it was put to me last week with my guest Tom, he said, at least Sheffield United have one more point than Dover Athletic have in the National League. Because Dover Athletic have 10, Sheffield United have 11. So
I think that
they're
all
done.
those Blades fans, that's what's given them solace. Is that they've got more points.
One more point than Dover Athletic.
Who've just gone, we're not even going to play anymore now. So
yeah, I mean, that's how they rest. They sleep easy at night. Although they are the best team in Sheffield, so Sheffield Wednesday are they're having a bit of a wacky season. Wacky Wednesday. Oh god, I noticed what I just did there.
They're interesting, Sheffield Wednesday. Have you seen, I listened to a thing about the brand and everything. They had a guy who went in there. He was at CSKA Moscow, and he's now at AFC Wimbledon, who's like kind of marketing technical director guy in that. So they've got, I think Sheffield Wednesday were making their own kits, their own brand kit, because the club makes more money that way.
Yeah.
Because obviously if you're sponsored by Puma or whatever, and that, yes, you get an amount, but you don't get the money for the shirt sales. You get a very, very small percentage of it. So they were getting everything. So basically their own Sheffield Wednesday branded shirts and everything that was made by them. So they got all the money for them. And also all the beer and ale and everything that's sold within the ground is their own special Sheffield Wednesday beer and all that. So again, it's just quite interesting kind of model to have, but obviously on the pitch things aren't really working for them at the moment. But I think back to kind of Sheffield United. I mean, last year I think they came up with a bit of swagger. They'd done like brilliantly in the Championship, playing with that kind of was it three at the back with marauding centre backs with like Lundstrom and stuff, like getting out there and scoring and stuff, and it was going really well for him. And that was, I think, maybe a bit of caught people off guard last season. Definitely caught Arsenal off guard. Struggled against them, and they did brilliantly well and kind of exceeded anybody's expectations as to where they would finish. But then there was the break. And then when they came back after the break, I don't think they won at all, did they?
They weren't. And then they lost Henderson in goal, who was probably responsible for keeping them well.
And then it all seems to kind of
you lose one of your best players, and then
really,
got to shit. Yeah, very nicely
even to the point where like Chris Wilder now is a bit like
he's accepted it.
Yeah. I mean, he may as well be a Dover Athletic player. Like that's kind of, that feels like that's the vibe that he's kind of giving off. But I don't know. I think it's I suppose it's, they're a big historic club and stuff. So it's a shame to see them kind of get absolute pasting like this. But at the same time, there's harking back to the kind of the whole thing with West Ham and stuff before, and that I kind of think like, do you know what? You can't blame anyone this time but yourselves. No. So
Rhian Brewster's. I bet Liverpool are like, I'm glad we sold him, because he's been freaking useless.
He's not the next big thing.
No.
He's no Dominic Calvert-Lewin, that's for sure.
Well, it could. Hey, it could be a lot worse. Hello, Ravel Morrison.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about Sheffield United. They seem to be like a kind of like home for wayward footballers. So they've had Ravel Morrison and
Yeah.
bombed him off as well. But they've got Jack Rodwell on their books.
Mm-hmm.
How this guy gets contracts is beyond me. His fitness record has been abysmal ever since he was at Everton. And yes, he had a lot of promise at Everton, but he went to Man City, couldn't cut it at the top level, at the highest level. He then went to Sunderland and was, to be honest, a disgrace, really.
Yes.
Like, yes, you can say, like, well, you know, in any other job, you know, if you've got this contract to be paid that money and everything, but come on, you've got to have some self-respect. As a professional footballer, you've got to want to play, but he was refusing to play for him at a time as well when the club had no money, and he's just taking. And if you watch that Sunderland Till I Die, you can see...
I have, yeah. It's atrocious.
And I think as a, you know, I'm an Arsenal fan, but I don't live in London. I'm not in the local area, and I don't think that clubs like Arsenal and Chelsea and stuff necessarily have the same kind of link to the local community as Sunderland appear to in that sense, because, you know, if you're in London, you've got a whole host of teams to choose from. If you're in Sunderland, you've got Sunderland. And to see the impact that, you know, Sunderland losing, if Sunderland going down, has on the local community, not just because of, you know, they're upset because their team has gone down, but, you know, that just the actual economy of it and people's jobs and stuff as well. And he's still sat there picking up Premiership wages was distasteful, to say the least. But the fact that I mean, what are they doing? Why did they think that, oh yeah, Jack Rodwell is going to be someone who's going to bolster our Premiership?
He's a name, isn't he? That's about it. That's all he's got.
Has he even played?
No, not really.
I know he played a little bit for Blackburn, didn't he, before, which ended up sort of getting his move in that. But yeah, I think they've made some bad choices this season. They're not really strengthened much in any areas, and they're kind of paying for it.
Yeah, he's played one game for them this season.
Well, there you go. And the goalie, is it Marshall?
Yeah. Who replaced Ramsdale, Aaron Ramsdale, who replaced, who re-signed, who left and re-signed.
Yeah, but isn't he like he's been relegated? Didn't he get relegated wherever he was before as well?
Yeah, he's not the greatest goalkeeper
not the keeper
ever.
To keep you up.
No.
If you want to go down, that's like the ad, isn't it? Are you sick of life in the Premier League? Sign Aaron Ramsdale. Like
he was at Bournemouth. He was at Bournemouth before. He was at Bournemouth and he got relegated with them. So there you go.
There we go.
So there we go. Then he returned to Sheffield United at the start of the season, which feels like a million years ago.
It does. It does feel like a long time ago, even though it is like this condensed season and you know, with games just constantly being played, and it does feel like the start of the season was. I think as well, because there was kind of like almost no pre-season.
Yes,
and we just finished.
It's like 3 weeks or something like that. Something ridiculous.
Yeah. I think because of that, I think maybe like the tail end of last season kind of feels a bit like. It was like a prelude to this season.
I don't know about you, but I am knackered by the amount of... And you know what? It's going to get even worse because we got the Euros in the summer. Then we got another season. Then we got the bloody World Cup at Christmas.
I like the Euros and like when the World Cup and stuff is on, because it's very much footballs and barbecues together, and I like that a lot.
But it won't be in 2022 because it'll be at bloody Christmas. It'll be...
Oh, yeah.
It'll be past the Christmas cracker.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be November into early December.
And World Cup. That's going to be.
That's going to be weird for me. No beer gardens. It'll just be people crammed full into the pub.
I'm really confused as to kind of what's going to happen, because the players are going to be dead by the end of the 22-23 season. Players are going to be absolutely wiped out.
Yeah, but remember, they are just pieces of meat that make money.
Yeah, this is true.
Said it on the
It's
show
fine.
before.
We'll just get newer, younger ones.
We'll just replace them, and I'll do a Daft Punk reference and make them harder, better, faster, stronger. 19th in the Premier League is Big Sam. So I'm not going to ask whether West Brom are going to stay up. When's Sam Allardyce resigning to keep his perfect record of never being relegated?
That's the thing. It's a lie. He's been relegated.
He has been. He's resigned.
He chooses to omit that part of his CV. But yeah, I think he will quit rather than get relegated.
Yeah, no, he'd rather quit. Yeah, but of course,
he's a scumbag like that.
Hey, you say that you can never doubt the greatest manager of England. 100% record. Alf Ramsey, eat your heart out. What did Sir Alf do? Win some sort of World Cup? He's got nothing on Sam Allardyce. Undefeated.
Hang on. Why is he undefeated? Because he was a scumbag and got sacked after a game for dodgy dealings. Jesus.
Still unbeaten. I bet he has that on like his on like his
record?
When you call him, his answer machine is you've reached Sam Allardyce, the only manager undefeated in the England national team. That's his claim to fame.
When he got sacked by Newcastle, he got a £4 million payoff, and he bought a place in Portugal that he called St James's Park. What was that called? St James's. He's a caricature of himself by now. He's nothing like the Sam Allardyce that was at Bolton, and now it's just ego and sound bites, and he will quit rather than get relegated because his massive head has an even bigger ego.
Yes, NASA had tried to like measure Sam Allardyce's ego. It was that black hole they were looking at in the other side of the galaxy.
Have the instruments to do it.
Infinite. Fulham are 18th, 22nd. I already said Scott Parker performed a miracle to get them into the Premier League. I mean, if he keeps them up, it's a miracle. It's 1-1. It's 1-1. Ruben Neves with the 73rd minute goal. 1-1. Newcastle won. Wolves won. Yeah. Verona won. Juventus won. Fulham are 18th. They seem to. Yeah, as I say, Scott Parker's performed miracles to get that. They shouldn't have been promoted. They were not good enough to get promoted. In my opinion, they weren't good enough. Scott Parker has performed a miracle, and if he keeps them up, if he drags them, kicking and screaming, and he keeps them into the Premier League, quite frankly, he's too good for Fulham.
Yeah, I watched the playoff final, and God, that was an awful game. And Brentford just kind of shot themselves in the foot. What their keeper was doing for the free kick was unreal. It
was abysmal,
like schoolboy goalkeeping. But I don't think the momentum they've got. Yeah, they need Brighton or Newcastle ever to drop some points and stuff. But I mean, the way Brighton are going, they're just going to constantly dominate games and lose. So yeah, it could absolutely play into their favour. So they're 18th. If they win their game in hand, I'm not sure who that's against. Then that'll put them 1 point behind Brighton. Which is pulling them right in there. So it's absolutely possible, and they've got some good players there as well.
They've got a London derby tomorrow against Palace. They're away. Well, Roy Hodgson, former Fulham manager, now Palace manager, taking on his old club. So it's Palace versus Fulham tomorrow.
The Hodgson derby. And Palace aren't in a great space at the moment. They've got 13 players or something out of contract at the end of the season. Hodgson's probably going to stand down as well. Like, they could quite easily get that win there. Like I say, Fulham have got some good players there in Loftus-Cheek, Lookman. As long as I think they'll be fine as long as they keep Michael Hector as far away from the football pitch as possible. Absolutely dreadful defender. And proved that for the first part of the season. If they dropped him sooner, they probably wouldn't be in the bottom three.
They probably should sell Mitrovic as well, because he's a championship striker. Like, he's too good. Like, Mitrovic has been, for me, all season, he's one of those weird players that's too good for the championship, but not exactly good enough for the Premier League.
Yeah, the Chopra Zone.
Yeah, or the Simon Cox. Yeah, the Chopra Zone, the Simon Cox. Who else? Charlie Austin.
No. To be fair to Charlie Austin, he's done all right in the Premiership in that. He scored.
Well,
goals.
He's done better than those guys. I will say that.
Yeah, or what the Rob Earnshaw classic.
Yeah. So they probably need to offload him. They need to offload Mitrovic.
Or just keep him for if they do get relegated.
Yeah, or keep. Well, look at
there's an element of that, isn't there?
Who's the guy is it Puku that's scoring all the goals for Norwich?
Timu Puki.
Yeah, Puki. Sorry. He was rubbish in the Premier League. He's absolutely dire, but he
started well, didn't he? He got like 5 goals or something in the first 8 games, and everyone's like, "Hang on, Norwich might be onto something here." And then everyone went, "No,
then he went average." He is just a great striker for the Championship.
Send him back to the Earnshaw Chopra Zone.
But yeah, he's on fire in the Championship at the moment, and so Mitrovic could be very important to Fulham should they go down, but I just don't see his importance if they stay up. So I think he'll be banking on them going down, because it's the only way he's staying at that club. Because they should transfer list him day one. I still
think they could get a decent fee for him as well, to be fair.
If you're a Championship club looking to get promoted, you're going to want to buy Mitrovic.
Well, no, but they could sell him abroad. He's a Serbian international.
That is true. Remember another striker that was kind of okay in the Premier League but better in the Championship? Pavel Pogrebniak. He played for Fulham for half a season and then went to Reading.
Yes.
And he was electric at Reading in the Championship, and then they got promoted, and then he was absolutely crap.
He was huge, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a massive dude. Guy. I thought he had hair.
I remember the name, and I remember him not being very good.
Yeah. He's like 6 foot tall, 6'2". Like, he towers over you, but Russian international. 33 caps for Russia. But he was great in the Championship, but really bad in the Premier League. Although he was good for half a season at Fulham, but then he went to Reading. So who's in more danger then? Brighton and Hove Albion or Newcastle United? Because you said you felt sorry for Steve Bruce earlier, so we'll get into that now. Yeah,
I feel like he's a man that just needs a hug, just needs a cuddle, needs someone to put their arm around him and say he needs a Harry Redknapp to go, "Come on, Steve, it's all right," and lift him up. He's just always so defeated, and I don't know. That's just the way. It's probably just his way, but
I mean, he does work for Mike Ashley.
Yeah, and I think people forget how difficult it can be working for Mike Ashley. Just in charge, I think.
Go ask any staff person at Sports Direct.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of mad how it all kind of came about with Steve Bruce going there in the first place, because if they just kept Benitez, they could have kept Benitez on, given him the money that they gave Bruce, and they would have been absolutely fine. But I feel like Steve Bruce just gets a raw deal. He's not a terrible manager. He's not a great manager by any stretch of the imagination. He's kind of like an all right lower half of the Premiership manager, which, to be fair, a lot of teams absolutely bite your hand off for that.
But he always does seem to find a way to get relegated after a while. Happened at Birmingham City. Happened at where else did it happen at?
Wigan? No, not Wigan.
Not Wigan.
Left before then.
What was he was relegated again, and I can't remember who it was with. Hull.
Yeah.
Was he relegated with
But
Hull and then got them back up and then quit? Didn't he?
yeah, but that's. I think there's a lot around that. Hull were an absolute
Oh yeah,
basket
they were.
case of a club at that point, weren't they?
Yeah,
And
still are.
and to be fair, like Newcastle's very like, yeah, they've got a huge fan base, and the expectations from the fans massive. It's like, I think you're talking kind of like it feels, my kind of view on it is that you've got kind of top four pressures, like that level of pressure, but for a club that's nowhere near
that
being
level.
there
Yeah,
at that point. Because of the intensity of the fans and the.
it's because they're the biggest club in that region, and the fans all expect.
Well,
big.
they're a one club city, aren't
Yeah.
they? So it's massive. It's the pressure cooker, isn't it? And I think that he's not. They want an exciting. They want
the 1990s where Alan Shearer was playing up front and Kevin Keegan was the manager. That's who they want. That's the scenario what they want. They want the manager that says, "I will love it if we beat them, love it," and so on and so forth. That's what they want. They want those times again. And they say nostalgia sells. It just doesn't sell well at Newcastle anymore.
Well, I think it would sell very well if they had somebody like Solskjaer there, who just every time things don't quite go to plan, just goes, "Oh yeah, but under Sir Alex, we would have done this," and everyone goes, "Yeah," and then they forget the fact that his team's been absolute dog shit. So, maybe Steve Bruce
to be fair, they tried Alan Shearer and it didn't really pan out because
it didn't. No, it didn't. And I think I
who would have been,
because I think they're just going to yo-yo a bit until Ashley can sell that club. And
on a sad note that's just popped into my mind, I could have, who I could have seen as Newcastle manager, and it brings kind of a tear to my eye. Gary Speed.
Yeah.
Just could have seen him as that would have been an excellent appointment.
Alas, that was not to be.
Alas, that was not to be. Yes.
Newcastle, but unless they can,
if they get rid of Bruce, who are they going to get? Benitez has already said no.
Sol Campbell, he's available.
He would get booed out of the building.
Also available.
Liam, have you started a football agency recently for Jan Vedegor of Hesseling?
Are
you his agent? Yeah. You're his actual agent? This is my suspicion.
Yeah, I'm Mino Raiola in disguise. But yeah, I thought Newcastle. I think if they just tighten up, they could probably stay up. But the momentum is kind of not going in their favour, and like you say, Fulham are kind of getting themselves together a bit and stringing those points together. And I mean, they're only 9 points ahead of West Brom. So if Big Sam is to pull off the Great Escape, then it could be at the behest of Newcastle. But like I said, I just feel like someone needs to give Steve Bruce a cuddle. If someone gives him a hug,
just give him a hug. Someone just give Steve. Unfortunately, he won't get any hugs from Geordies because he is one of their own, but because he's an ex-Sunderland manager, nope.
Yeah,
no chance.
But he's also a celebrated author as well. If you don't know about that, have a little Google.
I'll have to have a Google about that because I've got no idea.
Series of detective books.
I have no idea. I've got no. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know.
They did a bit of it about it on. I can't remember if it was before or after. It was either Football Weekly or the Totally Football Show, where they did a little bit on it. But yeah, absolutely look into Steve Bruce's detective stories.
BBC News. Steve Bruce inside the literary career of the Newcastle manager. Well, at least he... Oh, Jesus Christ. He's got a murdered footballer on the pitch. Yeah. Jesus. Okay, well, if that's what he does in his
I
maybe he
think
needs to
if
go back
Newcastle
to.
fans knew, if more Newcastle fans knew about these books, I think they'd love him.
But I bet they're like, well, since you wrote them, can you do that to Mike Ashley, please?
Yeah. On page 48, it says that they did this to kill the player. What if? How would that pan out in real life to Mike Ashley?
Hypothetical. What would happen if that happened?
Maybe you could do a piece on footballers and managers that have written books. So you'd have Lampard and Theo in there as well.
I prefer footballers that do adverts because they're funnier.
Yes.
Super goals. We love it. Yeah, fuck's sake. The Frank Lampard Super Goals advert was stupidly part of my childhood, thanks to Chris Moyles. He just constantly played it all the time. Brighton and Hove Albion 16th in the league. I don't know, they just seem to play. They're kind of like Wigan when they went down. They play well, although Wigan had a lot of injuries. Wigan played really well under Robbie Martinez, won the FA Cup, but still went down. And I'm not saying
what a way to bow out.
Yeah, what a way to bow out. Won the FA Cup and went, okay, you're going to be in the... So, guys, you're going to be in the Europa League next season, but you're going to be playing like Rotherham United next season as well. That happened to Birmingham City as well. They won the League Cup and got relegated, didn't they?
Yes.
Brighton and Hove Albion 16th. Graham Potter, the manager. Considering at the start of the season I said I could see Graham Potter as a future England manager. I'm not overly... I like the way Brighton play. I'm just not overly impressed with the lack of... To be fair, today's game was bullshit. The game against West Brom was bull. Like, that was just idiotic refereeing and VAR uniting to screw Brighton over.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything that's... I mean, I'm not being funny, but if you miss 2 penalties in one game, like, you don't deserve to win.
I mean, yeah, they did hit the crossbar in the post.
Who was taking him? Martin Palermo? Remember him? Took 3 penalties in one game, missed them all.
Oh, God. I do know that Welbeck took one of them, but I couldn't tell you who took the other one.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of talked about the stats and everything before. They create a lot of chances, but they're not putting them away. So they even need to be spending a lot more time with their strikers doing finishing practice.
Yeah.
Or need to try and find goals from somewhere else on the pitch, because you can have you can have 70% possession, but if you're playing against, if you're having all that possession, you're going to get hit on the counter, and if they only need to score 1, because they know that you're not going to score any. So Brighton are absolutely...
Brighton they play great football. They have some very good players. Their strikers are clueless. Their strikers are absolute idiots. I
mean, if they go down, then I hope that would mean that Basuma would be cheaper and that Arsenal then buy him.
Yeah,
that's my big hope for Brighton.
There we go, Brighton. Go down. Burnley seems to be doing what Burnley do and having a better second half of the season than they do the first half of the season.
The thing with Burnley as well is there's not really any pressure on them to be challenging or to be having cup runs. I mean, I think it'd be nice for their fans if they had a cup run, but just staying up is what they're looking to do. So whether they pick up those points at the beginning of the season or the end of the season, it doesn't really matter.
I was going to say Burnley are the opposite of Newcastle. Their fans do not have the expectation, and they are very happy just to be where they are, whereas Newcastle fans are like, well, as we were talking about and alluding to earlier.
But then they're the absolute opposite in the sense, like geographically in that as well, because they're a small club in a smallish sort of town in an area where there are a shitload of
massive clubs
teams
around them. Yeah.
So for them to be where they are, much like when Wigan were up as well, like it's...
Yeah, the key difference between Burnley and Wigan is that Wigan don't have any fans.
They really didn't.
That was my joke. Like they play Manchester United and then they get like a League One attendance, like 16,000.
Yeah.
It'd be like, and let's check on the Wigan fan. How are you doing today?
Though, isn't it, Wigan?
Yeah.
It's a Super League town.
It's rugby. It's rugby. They get about 20 to 25,000 for the Wigan Warriors, don't they? Now, yeah. I always used to make a joke whenever Wigan were in the Premier League by saying, well, let's go to the Wigan fan. Yay! So it's just one person sat in the stand. But yeah, Burnley, 15th in the league. Southampton have been dropping down the table, haven't they? They're 14th at the moment now.
Yeah. Well, they've had a lot of injuries, and then they got pasted 9-0 again.
Yes.
So confidence is obviously low there, which is a shame. Ralph Hasenhüttl he's a good manager, and good coach. And earlier on in the season, Southampton were right up there. They were one of the teams that people were going, oh, bloody hell, what's going on here? Like we've got Villa, West Ham, and Southampton and Everton all up here causing problems. What's going on? This isn't what's supposed to be happening. And then Southampton have just kind of dropped like a stone.
Yeah, I do have to say I do like the look of the top 11 of the Premier League. I like it. It's good. We'll go through the table in a bit.
It feels kind of quite 90s.
Yeah, exactly. Nostalgia sells. That's what they say. Thanks to my guest Liam Barry this week. That has been this week's edition of the Football Fan Show podcast. Be sure to check out Liam's podcast, The Boz and Baz's Penny Arcade. It's available on wherever you get your podcast from. It's a really funny podcast, so please go check it out, and check out Liam's podcast as other podcasts as well. His football podcast, the I Used to Play a Bit podcast. Go search for that on your podcast provider. It's a great football podcast. Go check it out and give Liam the support and love for that excellent piece of work as well. So please go check that out. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll be back same time, same place next week with another edition of the Football Fan Show podcast. You have an excellent week. I've been Danny Harrington. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye.